Hello and welcome to week 2. I hope you all enjoyed week 1. I know I did, scoring 140 points, joint highest score of the week. You've got to set the bar a reasonable distance, so you'll have somewhere to grow. That's what I always say. So, sorry for the quality of this video. For one thing, my crew is still in school. Including my cameraman. For another thing, my computer went last time I tried to edit video on it, and so this all has to be one take at this point. Yeah, there's that. Thanks to the miracle of technology, even though I am ensconced in an undisclosed location, I am still able to access all the information from our league thanks to the miracle of technology and my notes. This week, obviously you all know about last week. Let's see, we have I'm beating the Pugs, but we already knew that was going to happen. We did have a game with the sacks versus the fumbles. Sacks to be Cutler versus Sanchez butt fumbles. And I thought they had a poetic ring to it. The fumbles took away the victory. Thanks to, despite a disappointing day from Odell Beckham, a good performance from Cam Newton on Thursday night, and a fantastic performance from Carlos Hyde, as he seems to do week 1. That seems to be his thing. Put them over the edge against sacks to be Cutler. On the other hand, the Jabronis beat out the Badgers in a narrow victory, and both impressive performances from both teams. Mostly thanks to outstanding performance from D'Angelo Williams and Antonio Brown, and nothing to do with the fact that I'm facing them this week. But don't you think that just rings of a lineup made by a crazy man, like a man with nothing to lose, the running back and the wide receiver from the same team? A running back with a 4-week expiration date? Probably, when Le'Veon Bell comes back. I'm not worried. I'm in an undisclosed location for entirely different reasons. Not at all because I'm not exactly sure what a jabroni is, or what it might do to me. Anyway. So yes, moving on, the Aardvarks faced off against the newly named Goofy Ridge Runners. The team history for the Goofy Ridge Runners is actually on our forum, certainly worth a read. The Goofy Ridge Runners, with their joint honours, I don't mind sharing a little honour, as I said before, in our first week's video. Actually we're able to beat out the Aardvarks, who suffered from certainly not from Andrew Luck. In fact, the Aardvarks might deserve a trophy that we should instill in League of the best pickup each week, and I think picking up Spencer Ware, who basically led all running backs in fantasy points this week across all formats, would probably take that trophy this week. But it was not enough to beat out Brandon Cooks, since it turns out being Drew Brees' #1 wide receiver is a good thing. Certainly for fantasy points at least. But still, the game basically came down to one play, with the Aardvarks' fate being determined by Kirk Cousins' interception and not connecting with Jordan Reed. As so many of us have fallen to Kirk Cousins' interceptions, I'm sure we can all commiserate. It hurts when Eifert, and I've got to be careful with that name, thank you Andy, faced off against not Jerry's Cowboys, not Jeff's or Bob's Cowboys as well, I'm sure, who suffered a case of rookie quarterback in the first round, which can be deadly, and certainly was this week. However, both teams were the only teams not able to crest 100 points, which is surprising, since we all already know it hurts when Eifert is going to be the highest scoring team in the league, as predicted by experts. So I'm assuming the weeks after this are just going to be phenomenal. Anyway, David Johnson is always nice to have for it hurts, and certainly was this week, although they also suffered a little bit from the Cousins disease, since that is their quarterback, and also Devontae Freeman now apparently being in a timeshare with Tevin Coleman, which no one could have foreseen. I'll give you time to look up whose bench he's on. Yeah. Let's see. For poor Not Jerry's Cowboys, the bad news kept rolling in since Torrey Smith turns out not to be a thing. The 49ers defense turns out to be a thing, apparently. Although they did receive some good news in the form of DeMarco Murray seeming to be a #1 running back in fantasy again. At least he was in week 1. So certainly good things going forward, especially since Jonathan Stewart, his other running back, one of his other running backs, certainly won't be facing off against the Broncos each week. And he was still able to lay 60 yards on what is still the best defense in the league. So that's probably pretty encouraging for them as well. Although I might need to head to the waiver wire or to the trade market for bench wide receivers at least. Let's see. Speaking of trades, there's a trading block. In my informing anyone who doesn't know, on your team page you have to look for it. It's really tiny letters where you can advertise who you want to sell and what you're looking for in trade before everyone sends you offers for someone else for something completely different, as is the way with trade. So I encourage you all to get involved in that. I imagine we'll see one between the Jabronis and the Pugs eventually when D'Angelo Williams becomes more of a backup, maybe, which will make both of those teams at that point already impressive better, which will be great. In other news, I lost my flex wide receiver in Keenan Allen to a torn ACL, but I'm not going to bitch about it too much because I didn't break my ACL, so it doesn't seem like I got the worst end of that deal, and he still did put up significant points for me, at least this week. Although I was happy to read that he's already got a guaranteed contract he signed in the off-season, so not that I know anything about that situation, but that seems like a good thing to sign it before he gets an injury, at least. So I'm happy for him there. Moving into week 2, I am facing off against the... What noise does a jabroni make? Anyway, I'm facing off against the Stony Jabronis, probably from the safety of my underground bunker for entirely different reasons, because I'm not scared of anyone. As my friends, including my new best friend here, can attest. And I have offered the new team logo of the Texas Still Pugs, apparently, but they don't seem to have updated yet. But still, it's nice. Nice to have them around still. The Kentucky Aardvarks facing off against the Honey Badgers, which probably promises to be a tough matchup for both of them. And although ESPN does say that the Honey Badgers have the edge there, and we all know how much experts know, Sanchez Butt Fumbles is going up against Texas Pugs this week, looking for redemption after their trouncing in week 1. And Sanchez Butt Fumbles looking to continue their winning streak. Saxby Cutler is going up against Not Jerry's Cowboys, which seems to be perhaps the tightest, the closest game of the week, both in terms of the points they put up against. Points they put up last week, if I remember right, and also in the prediction model of ESPN. The Goofy Ridge Runners are going to go face off against It Hurts When Eifert, who are going to start putting up those astronomical numbers in order to get be the highest scoring team in the league. So that should be a really entertaining match to watch, and I encourage you all to tune in, because that is... sorry, I'm trying to read my own notes here. Yeah, it definitely seems that ESPN favours the Goofy Ridge Runners in that matchup, probably notably for their joint highest honours in points scored in week 1. So, all trophies have been issued. I've shared the glory, as I've told you, I will share the glory with the league. I'm just going to take the money in the championship. I'm not greedy. And I shared some of the glory in week 1 with shared highest points scored in Week 1 trophy. Also our lowest score belonged to obviously one of the two teams that couldn't crest 100 points into not Jerry's Cowboys, who I'm sure are going to bounce back this week. Waivers have run. I'm assuming there'll be a few more free agent pickups as well as we move forward with the week, and hopefully we'll see some trades and perhaps some other transformations. I encourage you all to transform your opponent into something you find less. There was a slight problem last week, I think we all know about, and that's that ESPN was down for several hours on Sunday, where we're all trying to religiously check our scores. Not me. I've got things to do. I already know I'm going to win, which is why I'm spending 2 days now making a video about fantasy football to send to 9 other people. Anyway, so lineups couldn't be changed was the upshot of it. After the start of the 1 o'clock game, the system went down, which means you couldn't change any of those players anyway. But the 4 o'clock games, you could have edited those players. Now the only one I could see that could have fallen into that category is actually that Gronk was declared out for that game, but was still in the lineup for Saxby Cutler. However, even though Clive Warford was picked up shortly before the match started, it wouldn't have made a difference whether you switch him in or Jimmy Graham, who's also apparently Saxby Cutler is just stuffing their bench with tight ends. This game's got lots of terms that don't fit together and sound quite right. But yeah, he's stuffing himself with tight ends. Either way, Jimmy Graham did play this week, so what about that? And they wouldn't have made a difference to the outcome of the game. And again, as I said before, since I've made this video so many times, I obviously have no idea if I've mentioned that in this version, or if I've said it in another version, or every other version, or no versions, and I'm just hallucinating sitting in the corner with my wife talking to a man in a lab coat about what the hell went wrong with this man. And no one knows. Anyway, this is the problem with one take. Anyway, Saxby Cutler, so it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game, and yeah, no one contacted me with anything else, so I didn't make any other changes, even though ESPN gave us the option to do that. Because it was their mistake. Alright, injury news other than Keenan Allen. I don't know if you've heard, Andy. I heard. I don't know if it's even true, because they said the same thing about Sammy Watkins, and now apparently it's not true. So who knows, but do with it what you will. Zach Ertz is meant to be out or unlikely to play this week, and maybe 2 weeks. Check that out. Sammy Watkins was meant to be hampered, but then everyone actually paid attention to what he'd said, and he said he wasn't in pain, and in fact he was tired, which makes sense since he just played a game of football, and was likely overblown by the reporters who made the clickbait articles. I'm sure actually at this point, 1 game in, everyone in the league is pretty much injured to some degree or another, but those are the names that jump to mind in terms of necessary lineup changes or waiver wire pickups. Although Spencer Ware may be more relevant than just the best running back in fantasy for the first week, since Jamal Charles also seems to be hampered for this coming week. So again, Aardvark's very nice pickup. Won't make a difference, but nice. Alright, congratulations on week 1. Welcome to week 2. I hope you all enjoy the games, and small note, I was going to mention that as we all, obviously everyone here knows, that no one smack talks in week 2. You know that, right? Yeah, it's tradition, and there's no, that's really a week 1 and week 3 and after thing. Week 2, there's no need to mention how badly you beat the other team, or exactly what you may have turned them into after you beat them. So I just thought I'd remind us all of that fine tradition, nothing whatsoever to do with anything in particular. I should plan a last line.